Turning back to the shooting at a Colorado nightclub that took the lives of 5 people late Saturday night. While the community continues to mourn, we're hearing from the military veteran who helped bring down the shooter and save a lot of lives. Janet Shamlian is in Colorado Springs with more. Janet, good morning.
Elaine, good morning to you. This is a remarkable story of heroism. Richard Fierro credited with taking the shooter down. He had been at Club Q with his wife, his daughter, and his daughter's boyfriend, who did not survive. He told us his story late last night, how he felt duty-bound to act almost without thinking.
These are good people, man. These were all kids.
Richard Fierro was at Club Q with his family when he heard gunfire, and his instincts as a former Army major kicked in.
I just know I got into mode, and I needed to save my family. And that family was, at that time, everybody in that room.
Fierro says he grabbed the gunman by his body armor.
Pull the dude down, pin him against the side, and just started, I think he went for his pistol. I don't know, either way, I grabbed the pistol from him. And then I told the guy, move the AR, the kid in front of me. He was at his head. I said, move the AR, get the AR away from him. And the kid did it. And then I started wailing on this dude. And I'm on top of him. I'm a big dude, man, and this guy was bigger. And I just kept wailing on him. And I told the kid in front of me, kick him in his head, keep kicking him in his head.
Investigators say Fierro's actions, along with that of another customer, Thomas James, saved lives. But sadly, his daughter's boyfriend, Raymond Vance, wasn't one of them.
He was dancing with my kid, and my daughter got to spend her last day with him happy.
Authorities say they're still looking into a motive.
Our officers and detectives will continue to be diligent and thorough in our work to hold the suspects accountable for these horrendous acts.
This doorbell video from last year has surfaced, showing a man with the same name and age as the suspect surrendering to police after reportedly making a bomb threat.
This is your boy.
There appears to be no record police or family members tried to trigger Colorado's red flag law, which would have allowed them to seek a court order to temporarily seize weapons the man may have had. The charges from that case were dismissed, and the case was sealed. Now, Richard Fierro wants the focus to stay on the victims and those who survived.
I wish I could have done more, okay? But those people aren't home tonight. All 5 of them deserve more than anyone in this standing here right now.
13 victims are still in the hospital this morning, as is the gunman. Authorities say once he's released, he will face charges, but he will do so from jail by video conference. Elaine?
Janet, just a horrifying story, but remarkable to hear the courage of the man who took down that shooter. What is the feeling right now in Colorado Springs, Janet? How is the community working towards healing?
So it's pretty dark, honestly. I mean, now we know the names of these people. It's 2 days before Thanksgiving. They're not going to be with their families. It's just a very heavy mood here. I will say, hearing Richard Fierro's story last night really lifted people up, and he was so humble. But that is the lone bright spot in an otherwise horrific few days here for the city of Colorado Springs.
Well, Janet, what stories have you heard about the victims?
It's really interesting. 3 of them were customers. 2 of them were first-time visitors to Club Q. 2 were bartenders. People knew them well. They were kind of a welcoming presence. And, 2 were with their families. 1 came down from Denver. Just a variety of stories, and of course, heartbroken families here in Colorado and all over the country.
Well, and authorities have now said the suspect is facing hate crime charges. So how does that impact the investigation and the case going forward?
So the investigation will determine whether hate crime charges are filed, and it seems very likely now that that's what's going to happen. But those charges are separate than first-degree murder charges. So it seems very likely that the suspect will be charged with 5 counts of first-degree murder and also 5 hate crime charges. Those are federal charges and have different penalties altogether.
And Janet, you mentioned the red flag laws in Colorado. What actually has to happen for those to be enacted?
So red flag laws are really interesting. About 19 states have them, and think of them as being proactive instead of reactive. They allow police, parents, in some cases even a doctor, to petition a court to take weapons away from someone if they believe that individual is a danger to themselves or others. There have been questions whether after this incident with the suspect last year, those laws could have been applied, but the charges were ultimately dropped and the case was sealed, Elaine.
Right, just so much heartbreak in that community. Janet, thank you.